should be able to. Hello?
Hello.
Welcome! Oh, how do I intro this? Welcome to Marvel Cinematic University, where each and every week, except for the 5 weeks we just took of hiatus, I teach Jacob something about Marvel Cinematic Universe that he doesn't know, and he probably still won't because he's a terrible student.
I think it was last time we recorded, it was 25 degrees outside, and now it's consistently 70.
Yes,
so
but you're wearing that hat.
It's to keep, continuity with the timing of our streams.
But you didn't wear that hat when it was cold out.
That's because we had a 90-degree day before that.
Okay. Well, anyway, we've been on a hiatus for 4 or 5 weeks, depending on how long I've decided it takes me to get ahead. Since we've already been on hiatus for a week and a half, and we haven't recorded a single episode. But yeah, so I'm your hosted Professor Alix, and with me, as always, is the worst student ever, Jacob. Hello, Jacob.
Hello, I'm prepared for a snowstorm. Winter is coming.
It hasn't been 5 months of hiatus. It's only been insert amount of weeks here.
We'll add it and post it.
Well, we'll see what happens. This week we're talking season 1 of Daredevil, Netflix's first Marvel Cinematic Universe property that may or may not be canon to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We'll just have to wait till next year to find out.
We like to think it is.
I like it. I mean, he's appeared in 3 Marvel projects, so...
Yeah. And that gas company is mentioned.
Yeah. They're
Rock
big.
on.
Yeah, rocks off.
Rocks on, rocks off.
So I made you watch definitely 13 episodes.
100%. I watched all 13, and my illustrious professor definitely watched all 13 as well.
In my defense, this was my 3rd watch through, and I'm pretty sure I watched all 13. I only just thought there was 10, so I only wrote about 10.
I see.
So
did you potentially see the last episode where what's his name goes to jail?
Oh yeah, just wait till season.
Watch?
I've seen every episode so many times. Anyway, these are the episodes that I made you watch. Let me start with the first 10 real quick. So it's Into the Ring, Cut Man, Rabbit in a Snowstorm, In the Blood, World on Fire, Condemned, Stick, Shadows of the Glass, Speak of the Devil, Nelson versus Murdoch, The Path of the Righteous, The Ones We Leave Behind, which I also think was the name of an episode in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
And Daredevil.
It's either that or it was The Ones We Love or something like that.
Are the ones we bring with us?
The ones we forget about, leave behind.
The ones we put beside.
I feel like I'm far away.
Well, now you're too close.
Too close. Is that better?
I mean,
I'm trying to gauge my distance.
Where you were the first time was probably the best.
I just felt so disconnected.
Well,
it might be this hat.
Get disconnected, bitch. I don't know.
I'm living 5 months in the future.
So, those were the episodes I made you watch. Any questions? Class dismissed.
Seemed a couple light, but okay.
No, it's fine. 5 minutes and 26 seconds is good enough for a podcast.
End it.
All right. That was the wrong button. Anyway.
Welcome back, and we are here to talk about Baby Groot today.
No. We haven't. We're gonna stick on Daredevil. I think we need more information on it.
More info.
All right. Daredevil was released on April 10th, 2015. A nice little 22nd birthday gift for yours truly.
Yeah, I remember it well. You locked yourself in a room and watched all the episodes in a day.
I'm pretty sure it was about a day. I'm pretty sure my parents came up to school to take me out to dinner that 2 days later, and I was telling my dad how good of a show Daredevil was.
Yeah, you emerged from your den at 10:30 at night. Stoned.
Yeah, no, that sounds right. This show stars Charlie Cox. Hold for Jacob's insane laughter.
You said Cox.
Deborah Ann Wool.
Oh, yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yep.
Eldon Henson. And that's it. For some reason, I didn't put Ann before Eldon Henson.
Yeah. Vincent D'Onofrio. What else is he in?
Jurassic World.
That's right. Yeah.
And like a lot of other movies, and people will probably be mad that I named Jurassic World out of all of his repertoire, but that's all that I could. Shut up, I'm not French. But that's all I could remember.
I didn't even realize that was him, to be honest, until I looked up the IED page, and
IMDb page.
yeah, that one.
IDBM, BDMI, IMDb.
IED. That joke bombed.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, this show takes place 2 to 3 years after the Avengers, before Age of Ultron. So somewhere probably like a couple months before Age of Ultron.
In Hell's Kitchen, New York.
That is true. It does take place mostly, I think all of it in Hell's Kitchen, New York.
Like 99.9% of it, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's start with Jacob telling me everything about the show. Go ahead, Jake.
Oh boy. Why don't you whip out those little summaries you got there and tell me some tidbits.
I wonder if I'll stop doing that at any point when we do shows.
It's not recommended. It's highly theorized. I won't know what I'm talking about.
I mean, I wonder if I'll stop telling you that joke at any point.
Oh. It's highly theorized you won't.
Yeah, no, it's highly theorized. All right. Episode 1. Into the Ring. Crime cartels, including the Russian mafia, Yakuza, and Chinese mob, have exploited Hell's Kitchen's circumstances since the incident. Blinded as a boy in the accident that gave him heightened senses, Matt Murdock starts fighting this rising criminal element by night as a costume vigilante while opening a law firm with his friend Foggy Nelson. Their first client is Karen Page, a secretary for construction company Union Allied who has been framed for the murder of her coworker Daniel Fisher after accidentally uncovering a money laundering scheme. You know, as one does.
Yeah, and there was some toss up about a potential affair. I don't think she had an affair. I believe her.
I also believe her. She was in a sticky situation. Murdoch stops Karen from being prosecuted and protects her from a professional hitman before exposing the scandal through Ben Urich at the New York Bulletin. Grateful for their help, Page offers to work for Murdoch and Nelson. James Wesley covers up the involvement of his employer in the scandal and orders Anatoly and Vladimir Rankskov, the Russian leaders, to handle Murdoch, the Man in Black. They kidnap a young boy to lure him into a trap, as one does.
Yeah, they pulled a page out of Jared from Subway's book.
Not Jared from Subway. Was he in the Yakuza?
Well, maybe the Russian mob. Mafia?
Oh boy. All right. Well, that was episode 1. Do I have some fun facts for you or what?
I hope so. I could use some fun facts to brighten up my day.
You know, I'm going to start with this. I didn't write it down, but let me start with this little tidbit of information for you. You know how Matt Murdock was hit, well, not hit by a truck, but hit by some would call it maybe ooze out of a truck, and it blinded him?
Yes. Yes, the toxic.
In a certain children's programming named Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they are 4 turtles that are gooped by some ooze from a truck. It is highly theorized, even though they're not Marvel Comics, that it's the same truck and same incident in which Matt Murdock lost his eyesight.
Really? So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles MCU confirmed.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is like a parody of Daredevil.
I could see it.
Well,
they got the old guy, which was Splinter.
Yeah, they got Splinter instead of Stick.
Yep. They
have the foot instead of the hand.
Mm-hmm.
And they are turtles instead of a blind man.
Yeah. They wear masks.
They do wear masks
over their eyes, but their masks have little eye holes. Matt Murdock's does
not have eye holes.
Yeah, no eye holes.
All right. So also, fun fact, Turk Barrett was a reoccurring character in the original comic who was a petty criminal and usually Daredevil's unwilling informant.
He was the cop, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the cop Foggy was trying to pay off.
Yeah, with cigars for his mother.
Yeah. Stop buying his mother cigars.
She's gonna get them anyway.
The last name of the crooked police officer, Farnham, is the same last name as the masked Marauder. The Marauder was an early Daredevil villain.
Marauder?
Yeah.
Not Marauder?
Marauder?
Marauder.
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 Fuck you, Jake.
Oh.
And some connections for you, you piece of shit.
I'm gonna latch this fuzzy hat to keep out your insults.
I hope your head sweats to death.
It's very itchy.
When Murdoch and Foggy are renting the office space, the realtor says that the price has gone down since the incident. This is referring to the events that happened in the Avengers 2012.
Oh.
You know, when
I think I did pick up on that when I watched that episode. I remember putting that together.
you know, when a big alien and a Loki man came through the sky and were like, we're gonna kill all of New York, and then a giant green monster said, I will save New York.
I remember that. It's like we watched one.
That tends to drive down property values.
Some would say.
Some would say.
It's a market. It'll rebound. It was an investment.
When Matt is training in the gym at the end, the fight card on the wall says Murdoch and Creel. Carl Crusher Creel, do you remember where we know that name from?
Ooh, probably S.H.I.E.L.D.
That is correct. Creel is the name of the Marvel supervillain, the Absorbing Man. Series producer Jeff Loeb confirmed that this is the same Creel that appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before gaining his abilities.
Oh, and that's the one his father beat.
Yeah, so
ended up in his father swimming with the fish.
Yeah, his father should not have done that.
No, he was trying to put on a show for his boy.
Yeah, it was maybe try being there for your son and not dead.
Look, you win some, you lose some, and sometimes you win some and then lose some.
And he won some, then lost some.
Yeah, he did.
Some would say he lost it all.
Some say he lost that roulette.
Woof. All right. Well, on that dark note, we're gonna go ahead and move on to Cutman.
Yeah.
Speaking of, the man getting cut down, when Murdoch was a boy, his father was murdered by Hell's Kitchen Irish mob for winning a match he was told to throw. Now, after failing to rescue the kidnapped boy, a severely injured Murdoch is found in a dumpster by Nurse Claire Temple. Some would call him a dumpster man. Nelson, meanwhile, attempts to comfort Paige following her recent traumatic experiences. Temple takes Murdoch to her apartment, tends to his wounds, and removes his mask, discovering his blindness. Temple takes Murdoch to her apartment, tends to his wounds, and removes his mask, discovering his blindness. He reveals his name, but he refuses to reveal his name, but does reveal his heightened senses when they alert him to a Russian who is searching the apartment building, giving Temple time to hide Murdoch, and convince the man that she knows nothing. Murdoch realizes that the man did not believe her and overpowers him, taking him to the roof. Murdoch and Temple torture him into revealing the boy's location before Murdoch pushes him off the roof into the same dumpster. Murdoch says he'll survive, but he will be a dumpster man for the rest of his life. Murdoch enters the building where they are keeping the boy, defeats the guards, and rescues the boy.
My hero!
My hero! Yeah, so that was episode 2, and here are your facts that are... Oh, that's I Am Groot. Here are your facts that are fun.
Okay.
Not knowing Matt's name, Claire names him Mike. In the original comics, during a period in Daredevil, Volume 1, Issue 25 through 41, to protect his secret identity, Matt pretended to be his non-existent sighted twin brother called Mike Murdoch and claimed he was the real Daredevil.
I like these fun facts.
They are quite fun.
I like the subtle connections to the old comics. I find them interesting.
Dude, the Daredevil comics are some of the best comics out there.
Have you read them?
I have read a few, yes. Matt Murdock is kind of a silly guy. He's a silly little one.
Silly goose.
He likes to sleep with people. That'll come up when we talk about She-Hulk.
Oh boy.
Claire Temple The Claire Temple character is a loose adaptation of the character from the short-lived 1970s Marvel comic Night Nurse.
Well, she's a nurse at night.
Exactly. She's also, like, in the comics, Night Nurse takes care of superheroes, patches them up.
Old Dawson doing the most out here.
Yeah, look at her. She's really in Disney's pocket right now, you know?
Yeah.
Nurse Claire Temple was the love interest of hero for hire Luke Cage during the original Power Man comic series in the 70s. And it's kind of crazy because in a couple weeks you'll be watching a show called Luke Cage, and it's almost like if to connect the shows together, she might appear in there as maybe someone who likes to tango with the Rango.
Oh, she's tangoing with the Rango, you say?
Well, no, she's tangoing with Luke Cage, actually.
Rango.
This episode had no connections.
No connections. I don't know how many connections there are in this this season, to be honest with you. Maybe a couple here and there.
Listen, the more we go through these Netflix shows, the less connections we're gonna find, probably. We're gonna connect the shows together, but we're not gonna connect it to the MCU. You're really going above and beyond.
Was that more of a copyright thing that like Netflix couldn't really reference that, or is that just how they wrote them?
That's just how they wrote them. I mean, Netflix will they straight up reference Thor in this.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
See, the thing is, these shows will reference the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but not until Spider-Man: No Way Home do they ever reference Daredevil.
Okay.
Episode number 3, Rabbit in a Snowstorm.
Tell me about a rabbit in a snowstorm.
Wesley, having become aware of Nelson and Murdoch because of their involvement with Paige during the Union Allied scandal, as we talked about 2 episodes ago, hires them to defend John Healy, an assassin. Though Nelson wishes not to get involved with obnoxious, obvious criminal element, Murdoch wishes to use the case to discover who Wesley's employer is, and so accepts Wesley's offer, which includes a substantial sum to ensure their silence. Kinda like paying off lawyers. That's silly.
Silly.
Paige receives a similar offer from the Union Allied, who do not want her to talk to anyone else about the scandal and threaten to sue her for leaking company secrets to the press if she does not agree. Despite this, Paige goes to Uric, whose editor Ellison is forcing him to write stupid stories rather than the major crime breaks of his youth. It offers to tell him more about the Union Allied scandal. After successfully defending Healy, Murdoch confronts him in costume and forces him to reveal Wesley's employer, Wilson Fisk. Healy commits self-death rather than be confronted by the consequences of revealing Fisk's identity, which I feel like the consequences will probably have just been death anyway, so he made the right call.
It's a good move, Go out on your own time, really.
Yeah. He chose when he wanted to go out. In the comics, Vanessa Mariana became the wife of Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. This show features her background and history, which was never explored before.
And art.
And art, called Rabbit in a Snowstorm.
Yes.
Across the hall from Nelson and Murdoch is a company called Atlas Investments, a nod to Atlas Comics, the original name of the company that became Marvel Comics. The same Marvel Comics in which they created a whole cinematic universe around, and we have a show called Marvel Cinematic University.
Oh, I didn't put that together.
No, yeah, you wouldn't. You're kind of dumb.
Well,
and here are your little connections.
Ooh. Boop, 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 boop.
Behind the desk of Ben Urich, a framed front page shows the Battle of New York, showing he wrote about the events from the Avengers.
He's a journalist. That's what they do.
And they tend to, write about the Avengers when they destroy an entire city.
Yeah, I mean, they did what they had to. What do you want, people?
Well, it'll just get worse from here on out. Wait till we get to phase 3. Anyway, also behind the desk of the journalist Ben Urich also appears a page in the newspaper that speaks of the Battle of the Hulk with the Abomination in The Incredible Hulk 2008, Jake's favorite film. The title is Harlem Terror, or as Jake likes to call it, the entire movie.
That movie was a terror to my eyes, let me tell you. And brain, I am still not recovered.
Do you want to guess what the subtitle is?
don't watch in theaters.
Hulk emerges victorious in destruction of Uptown Battle.
Well, he was ready to go round 3. I'm ready for round 3.
God damn it. It's a good thing I still have that clip saved. I have to play that I play that clip every time you fucking say, "Are you ready for round 3?" Episode Quattro. In the Blood.
I was gonna say, is this the one where we kind of find out about Fisk's background, or is that like a couple episodes from now?
Murdoch is unable to find any record of Fisk, and so continues to interrogate criminals searching for answers. Wesley informs the Russian people of an offer Fisk has made to help with their operation, given their recent failures. Angered at this apparent slight, they attempt to stop the Man in Black once and for all by visiting in hospital the Russian whom Murdoch threw off the roof. After the Russian tells them of Temple, they send men to kidnap her, but she manages to call Murdoch in time to alert him of her kidnapping. The Russians attempt to torture Murdoch's name out of Temple, but Murdoch arrives and defeats the gangsters. Seeing the aftermath of this, the Russian people decide to agree to Fisk's offer, with Anatoly going to tell Fisk personally by barging into the restaurant where Fisk is having dinner with an art gallery and making the right decision of like really getting angry at him. And it like any rational person would definitely do that to the most powerful man in New York.
Yeah, and then we have Blender Man, and now we have Car Door Man. I mean,
Fisk takes a confused Mariana home, and angered at the intrusion and embarrassment, Fisk decapitates Anatoly and orders Wesley to send the body to Vladimir.
Boy.
Yeah, so we do definitely have a second Blenderman in the MCU.
It's the second death in the MCU confirmed.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back.
Oh, Headless Horseman, maybe.
Oh my god, if the Headless Horseman and Blenderman.
Yeah, I really wonder how many closes of that car door it took to
get to the center of a Tootsie Pop.
Yeah. There was that old wise owl sitting in a tree figuring it out.
1, 2.
1, 2.
All right. Well,
his head finally becomes like a smooth puree of car door grease and pavement.
Fun fact: that guy was related to Blender.
It's highly theorized that Blenderman was actually that guy's uncle.
Yeah, it was his great grandfather.
Yeah.
All right. Fisk makes it. Wait, no, that is connections. Nope, that is fun fact. Fisk makes a reference to inform Mr. Potter that he will need a new suit. In the comics, Melvin Potter was a costume maker who became the Daredevil villain Gladiator.
And Melvin Potter's that guy that creates Daredevil suit in like one of the last episodes, I think, right?
Yeah, it is the same guy. I forgot that part. I thought this was just
they have a little strap and Daredevil hits him with something. He goes, "That's not nice."
Yeah, that guy's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's a genuinely good guy. I think he got peer pressured into some bad business.
I mean, when you grow up in Hell's Kitchen and have connections to Fisk, then yes, you're gonna fall into the wrong crowd.
Yeah, they say in Hell's Kitchen, yeah, you don't find bad business finds you in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
That's what the kids are saying now.
That's what the little Murdochs are saying.
Yup.
While shaming the Russian brothers for getting beaten up by the Man in Black, Wesley made a reference to Thor and Iron Man by saying "man in the iron suit" or "magic hammer." So yeah, the Avengers exist in this world because it's the MCU.
Confirmed.
Episode number 5.
Ooh.
A Little World on Fire. I added the little part.
This is where the warehouse goes boom.
Boom, boom, boom. The warehouse went boom.
There is no more rooms in that warehouse, boom.
Fisk explains the situation to his allies, including Chinese leader Madame Gao, of whom he asks a special favor. Elena Cardenas, a renter of powerful businessman Armand Tully, comes to Nelson and Murdoch after Tully, who wants to convert her apartment building, sends men to wreck her home. Nelson goes to Tully's lawyer at Landman and Zach, where he and Murdoch once interned, represented by Marcy Stahl, Nelson's ex-girlfriend, She explains that Cardenas and her neighbors can either take a large settlement or be evicted. While looking for complaints against Tully at the police station, Murdoch realizes detectives Carl Hoffman and Christian Blake are corrupt when he hears them kill a Russian, as a corrupt person may do. Murdoch later incapacitates Blake and uses his cell phone to find Vladimir. Fisk pays Turk Barrett to reveal to Vladimir that Fisk killed Anatoly, and as they prepare for a war against Fisk, their forces are destroyed in a self-death attack by Gao's workers. Vladimir survives, but Murdoch finds him as they are surrounded by police.
Yeah, and they kind of framed Murdoch for the beheading of Anatoly.
But it was really Napoleon.
Well, it was Mr. Fisk.
Oh, right. Sorry, Napoleon is the one who usually likes to decapitate people, so that's why I got confused there.
Oh, the old guillotine. Well,
yeah.
Cardor was a guillotine, I suppose.
It's highly theorized that Headless Horseman is related to Napoleon.
Highly theorized.
Do I have any fun facts for World on Fire? In fact, I do. When Fisk takes Vanessa on a date, she describes a prince she dated once before, saying he wore a white suit and an ascot, to which Fisk replies, "Ascot? That's a bit much." This is a hint at the classic Kingpin look of the comics, where he often is depicted wearing a white suit and an ascot.
It's a bit much.
Yeah, it is a bit much, huh?
She's got a real thing for kingpins.
Here's some connections. Claire Temple asks Matt Murdock, "Are you one of those billionaire playboys I've heard about?" Referencing Batman, of course.
Wait, really?
No, it's Iron Man, you idiot.
Oh, hell, yeah, I suppose that would make more sense.
The tune that was played at the restaurant during Wilson Fisk and Vanessa's date was the same tune that was played at a restaurant in which Phil Coulson and Raina had a meeting in the episode in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode, A Hen in the Wolf House.
It's a catchy tune.
It is a catchy tune. It was also, I don't remember, I didn't put the song that it was. My bad.
MCU loves playing that song over Risky Dinners.
Yeah, if you're not playing that song over Risky Dinners, is it a risky dinner?
Some would say not, actually.
Episode 6, Condemned.
Really condemn this episode to my mind here.
Murdoch takes out the police when they try to kill Vladimir on Fisk's order. I don't know why I said Fisk in that accent.
This sorta.
For the order. And he takes Vladimir to an abandoned warehouse, hoping for answers about Fisk, while Nelson and Cardenas are injured in the bombings. Well, with Temple's help, Murdoch cauterizes Vladimir's wounds, alerting a non-corrupt police officer to their presence. The officer calls in Murdoch at Vladimir's location, and the warehouse is soon surrounded. Blake and Hoffman take control of the situation and await Fisk's order. Fisk talks to Murdoch via police radio, telling him of his admiration for what Murdoch is trying to do, even though it clashes with Fisk's own plans to save the city. Fisk then frames the vigilante by having a NYPD ESU sniper fire on other officers from the roof of the warehouse, including Blake, as Yurik and the media look on. Vladimir, in return for Murdoch avenging Anatoly's death, gives him information on Leland Owlsley, the accountant for all of Fisk's operations, before giving his life so that Murdoch can escape. Pretty brutal episode that one was.
I wouldn't say he died.
Well, he definitely didn't get hit by a car door.
That's the only way to... That or, plane propellers, really the only way to go in the MCU.
Those are the 2 instant deaths. I don't have any fun facts.
Aw, man.
I also don't have any connections.
No connections.
Murdoch tracks down Owlsley, but is distracted by the arrival of an elderly man. Murdoch's mentor, Shtick, who taught him to master his abilities as a child, but abandoned him when Murdoch developed an attachment to him. Now he enlists Murdoch's help in destroying Black Sky, a weapon that the Japanese led by Nobu are bringing to New York. Stick agrees to refrain from killing, but breaks his promise when he kills Black Sky.
These things happen.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta go back on your word,
Yeah, a promise is only as useful as its weakest link.
Yeah. Turns out, Black Sky is a little boy. Murdoch fights Stick and wins. So Stick agrees to leave the city, as one does to honor their word. Having agreed to help Uric, having agreed to help Paige expose the further scandal and corruption surrounding Hell's Kitchen and Union Allied, explains that they need proof before they can publish anything. While searching for a connection between Tully's men and Union Allied, Paige is confronted by them. Nelson helps her escape them, so she and Uric explain their investigation to him. Stick later converses with a heavily scarred man about Murdoch's role in events to come.
Good guy, this Stick.
Stick
Wouldn't
is,
trust him with a problem.
I was gonna say, Stick's not really that great of a guy.
He ain't no Fisk. Like, I think this is a little overdue as part of this conversation. Let's talk about Fisk's actions here. Like, how bad are they really? Like, sure, he's got some ties to the mob and the Yakuza and some other, unlawful groups. But he just wants what's best for his city. Realistically, he just wants to turn it into a nice little place. And sometimes you got to crack some skulls to do that. And he was cracking skulls, sure, but
sometimes you gotta crack a few skulls to break some eggs.
You gotta crack some eggs to bake a cake.
Sometimes you gotta crack a few skulls to make an omelet.
And look, this lady who wouldn't move out of her building, right? I mean, she turned down a very good sum of money. She could have been living comfortably in maybe Manhattan.
Yeah, no, I doubt like they could have offered $1 million and she wouldn't be able to afford to live in Manhattan.
I mean, they could have just waited her out because in those conditions, I mean, when she died, they really shaved only like a year or two off her life, realistically. You're telling me that building didn't have knob and tube wiring? Okay. I mean, that thing was burning down soon.
That tower or that building definitely had asbestos for sure.
Oh yeah. She's just gonna have that mesothelioma soon.
Good thing she probably watches television all the time. She'll find a good lawyer. So here are some fun facts for Stick, and by some I mean one. The rapper bracelet that Matt gives to Stick contains a hidden Mickey in the pattern.
Huh.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
And I do not have any connections, so let's continue this to episode 8, Shadows in the Glass.
Oh, the last one was 8. You said 8.
The last one was 7.
You said 8.
I didn't say 8, I said 7.
I said 7. Then you said 8.
No, I said 7.
Watch the recording.
I will, and when I'm proven right, that...
When you're proven wrong, I would like a texted apology.
I'll always be right, because I am the editor. Episode 8, Shadows in the Glass. Paige and Nelson bring Murdoch in on their plan, and he agrees as long as they stop putting themselves in harm's way, because that is silly, and use the legal system rather than underhand tactics, because he wants them to be stand-up citizens like Murdoch, who is a lawyer and not in any way going above and beyond the law.
He would never do that.
He would never.
He is a lawyer who has passed the bar and owns a practice.
Yeah. Halsey and Nabu, angry at being confronted by Murdoch and losing Black Sky, respectively express their displeasure with Fisk, while he is also dealing with Blake, who wakes up in the hospital. Fisk convinces Hoffman to kill Blake before he can speak out against Fisk, but Hoffman is incapacitated by Murdoch, who gets information on Fisk from Blake before he dies. Gao visits Fisk, warning him that he will have to get everything under control if he does not wish to be sidestepped. An angry Fisk is later consoled by Vanessa, and he tells her of how, as a child, he murdered his father when he was beating Fisk's mother. She convinces him to stand up and go public with his intentions to save the city. This negates all of Murdoch's information from Blake, which Ulrich was going to publish. So, she really said, hey, be evil in public. And he said, you mean the Trump way?
Yeah, he really came out and made all his wrongs look right. He put on a good face like he was going to help the people, and I think eventually he would have. But then he started to, he let that old famous Fisk temper get the best of him.
Sometimes you get a little angry, and you won't like it when he's angry.
He was ready for round 3.
Are you ready for round 3?
No.
And in that clip, it's just going to be Kingpin getting angry at Daredevil and smashing. Actually, no, I'll use the clip of him hitting somebody on the door with the door. Are you ready for round 3? What was this episode?
That was 8.
Yeah, no, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Shadows in the glass. The Gladiators poster on the wall where Leland Owlsley is being fitted for a suit is taken from the cover of Daredevil, Volume 1, number 226. The scene with Ben Urich writing an expose on Wilson Fisk, but deleting it afterwards, is a reference to the 2003 Daredevil film, in which Urich writes an article about Daredevil's identity, but decides not to publish it and deletes it.
Are we gonna watch the 03 Daredevil film?
All the Marvel movies currently exist in the MCU multiverse, which we will be talking to once we get to Phase 2, Saga 2, the Multiverse Saga.
Oh, okay.
Jacob, let me tell you, this podcast will go forever.
Oh no.
I have yet to run out of any ideas for content for this.
Oh boy.
And by the time we get to the end, there'll still be more. By the time we get to Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I'm assuming there'll be at least 4 more shows and 3 more movies. So we'll be good.
They're really riding a dead horse, which isn't really dead. It's really just kicking.
I mean, it's actually like it was birthed. It's a horse that was just born, and it's attempting to stand, but it's the weakest of the children who have come before it, so it's having a little difficulty. And if it can't stand soon, something is probably going to put it out of its misery.
See.
Yep, that's how I described our podcast. Come watch it.
Oh, our podcast might be actually dead already. I think someone put it out of its misery on episode 1.
Follows and subscribes help.
All we're saying is just subscribe and then give us some hope and then unsubscribe a week later.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I won't notice. All right, no connections, so it is time for episode 9. Speak of the devil. Funny, I got a message when I said that.
Speak of the devil, actually.
It was actually you that I got a text from.
No, it was not me.
Oh. Well, I saw your tops one.
Oh, see.
Alright, episode 9, Speak of the Devil. In the wake of Fisk's public revelation, Murdoch, Page, Nelson, and Urich begin searching for something from Fisk's past that they can use against him. Murdoch visits Vanessa at her art gallery, hoping to gain insight into Fisk by speaking with her, and encounters Fisk himself. Nobu demands as a promised city block from Fisk, who agrees on the condition Nobu provide him with a, this is not written well, with a specialist to deal with the vigilante. The block which Fisk has taught from, what? Oh, the block, that one was on me. The block which Fisk has bought from Tully is where Cardenas lives, and she is one of the few tenants who stands in the way of Fisk gifting it to Nobu. When Cardenas is killed by a junkie, Murdoch realizes that Fisk is behind it and tracks him to an abandoned warehouse where he is confronted by specialist Nobu. Murdoch eventually defeats Nobu, accidentally causing him to burn alive, whoopsie daisy, but sustains serious injuries. Fisk then confronts Murdoch, beating him nearly to death, but not with a door, so he's gonna live. Murdoch barely escapes, only to collapse at his home in front of Nelson.
I wouldn't say in front of Nelson. He kind of collapses, and then Nelson comes in, so it's not like in front of him, you know?
In this case, I've got nothing. I don't think I got nothing for this one.
No, nothing at all.
Oh wait, no, I do have a fun fact.
Ooh.
The snake symbol on the heroin packets is the same as the tattoo on the chest of the Steel Serpent, a major bad guy in the Iron Fist comic series.
We might find out more about that.
In Iron Fist Season 1. Oh, did I have any connections for that one? I don't think I did.
No, you said no. No dots.
No dots, no polka dots. Episode number 10, Nelson v. Murdoch.
I wonder what happens in this one.
After Temple tends to Murdoch's wounds, Nelson confronts him about his blindness and vigilante activities. Murdoch explains that after experiencing the twisted morals of Landman and Zack, he decided he was no longer going to be an upstanding citizen of society and become a vigilante instead. Murdoch took it upon himself to confront an abusive father with no legal evidence against him, but whom Murdoch has discovered through his heightened senses. Since then, he had been doing everything he could to make the city a better place whenever the law could not. Nelson, unable to look past Murdoch's lies, leaves their firm, letting it go from Nelson and Murdoch to just Murdoch, that poor bastard. Uric, after the extension on his sick wife's hospital stay is denied and he is offered a better paying job as an editor rather than a reporter, decides to give up the investigation. Paige, in an attempt to change his mind, takes him to a rest home she just discovered where they meet Marlene Vistane, Fisk's mother, who tells them that Fisk killed his father. Fisk, meanwhile, is hosting a charity gala because, he's fucking rich and he's got to do these things.
Mm-hmm. Especially in the public.
Yeah, he needs to publicly raise money for victims of the bombing. Many of the guests, including Vanessa, are poisoned. Suspicious.
I wonder who could have done that.
Who could it be? I think it was Murdoch. Murdoch did it.
It seems like it could have been.
This is Nelson versus Murdoch. I do, in fact, have some things about this one. Okay, this is a connection. When Matt and Foggy talk about the language classes they are taking in college, Foggy claims that Matt only took Spanish to get close to a Greek girl that was in the same class. This is a reference to Elektra, who in the comics was one of Matt's many love interests, and also a ninja assassin.
What if I told you Matt Murdock has that dog in him?
You'll find out in season 2.
Ooh.
Episode number 11, which I will not have any fun facts or connections for the next 3 episodes, suspiciously.
There might not be any, that's why.
No, there's definitely not. Still recovering from his injuries, Murdoch says goodbye to Temple, who is leaving for a time. Before she goes, to go fuck Luke Cage probably, Temple suggests that he get better protection if he is going to continue his crusade. With the help of Barrett, Murdoch finds Melvin Potter, a mentally unbalanced engineer who has been coerced into... Here's the thing, Jake. Here's the thing, right? I may not have watched these 3 this time. Into creating armored clothing for Fisk, and ask him to make a suit of body armor in exchange for stopping Fisk from hurting anyone else. Paige wishes to reveal the story of how Vistane is alive, and says that Fisk killed his father, but Uric explains that is unreliable, given her state of mind. While Fisk will not leave Mariana's side as she recovers in hospital, Wesley receives a phone call from Vistane and learns that Paige and Uric visited her. He confronts Paige and attempts to blackmail her into not exposing Fisk, threatening to hurt her friends. When Fisk calls Wesley to find out where he is, the ringing distracts him long enough to Paige to take his gun and kill him. Ba-bum-ba-da-doo.
Let me tell you, there's a lot of characters in this show with some unfinished puzzles up in the head there. They're missing some pieces. And they seem to remember.
You mean like car door guy?
Well, that's a puzzle you took out of the box and never put together. That thing's just laying on the dining room table right now.
No, that's a puzzle you took out, put together, and then smashed it in a door.
You didn't like the finished product, so you really just destroyed it.
Yeah.
But my point being is a lot of these Fisk's mom, Uric's wife, and then I guess the guy who built Melvin there, who builds the suit, without him. But Fisk's mom can't remember anything. And then all of a sudden she remembers Karen's there and Uric's there as well. Come on. And then she seems kind of put together in the car, sort of, but not really. And then Uric's wife kind of gets seems put together when he's dead.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
How dare you spoil it? Episode 12. Before you spoil the entire show.
Speak of the devil.
No, that was episode 9.
Sure.
Using information from Uric, Murdoch finds the base of Gao's heroin operation and dismantles it, with Gao, who can hold her own against Murdoch, escaping. It might have something to do with the fact that she is a super ninja, and deciding to return to her homeland to think about the future, as one does.
As one does.
Fisk's men find Wesley, and the grieving Fisk realizes that the last person he talked to was Vistane. Wanting to keep those he loves safe by sending them out of the country, Fisk is unable to convince Mariana to leave him, but does get Vistane away.
She's loyal for
She's very fucking loyal. She is crazy.
Yeah, she really adopts that whole villainess lifestyle.
She's like, oh, you evil? I could be evil.
I could be evil. Rabbit in a snowstorm. And maybe that's a metaphor for her. She's a rabbit, but she could create a snowstorm, which is not good.
Maybe the rabbit in the snowstorm is a way to lure villains so that she can become a villain with those villains.
Yes.
Paige, struggling to get over killing Wesley, because it is a hard thing to take somebody's life, convinces Uric to write the story, but if it is rejected by Allison, when Uric accuses Allison of being paid off by Fisk, he gets fired. Uric decides to start his own blog to get Fisk's story out there, but Fisk's real informant in the bulletin tells him that Uric visited Vistane, angering him to the point that he breaks into Uric's apartment and kills him.
The old strangle.
I wouldn't have known that if you didn't spoil it.
So sorry. That's on me.
I'll
be back.
You want to spoil episode 13 before I get to it, or do you want to tell us right now that Daredevil puts on his costume for the first time?
Episode 13, Daredevil puts on his costume for the first time.
Episode 13. Murdoch and Paige attend Uric's funeral, while Fisk learns that Owlsley and Gao conspired to poison Mariana, whom they deemed a distraction, and that Owlsley has been hiding Hoffman as an insurance policy. When Owlsley tries to blackmail him, an infuriated Fisk kills Owlsley by throwing him into an open elevator shaft, as one does.
It happens.
It's highly theorized that he survived.
He was elderly.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Old people are known to survive elevator shafts, I think.
2 broken hips at max.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like falling down the stairs.
Old people fall all the time and survive.
Yeah. Murdoch and Nelson reconcile their differences and begin building their case against Fisk. As the vigilante, Murdoch finds Hoffman with information from Stahl and convinces him to testify against Fisk. Acting on this testimony, federal agents arrest Fisk and co-conspirators, but Fisk's mercenaries and corrupt law enforcement officers manage to help free him from federal custody. Before he can flee the city, Murdoch ambushes him, wearing the new armor formed for him by Potter. After a brutal fight, Murdoch defeats Fisk and leaves him to the police, with Fisk arrested. Mariana leaves the city. Murdoch, Paige, and Nelson celebrate their success and resume their work. The vigilante is named Daredevil by the media.
And that's how he gets his name. He is no longer Devil of Hell's Kitchen.
I was going to say, I do actually have a fun fact for this this episode. The name Daredevil comes from the title of the show Daredevil, as they did have to find a character to name the show Daredevil.
I didn't know that.
Pretty crazy. Well, that was season 1 of Daredevil, Netflix's first Marvel show that is now streaming on Disney+.
I give the overall season a C+.
Okay. One of these other supplemental things that we're going to do during this weird season, I'm going to call this the weird season, is I'm going to have you rank everything we've done so far.
Oh, I'm already ahead of the curve here.
Yeah. Any questions about Daredevil? Concerns?
I'm all set here. Maybe watch all the episodes next time.
Yeah. Here's the thing. When we get to Iron Fist, don't expect me to watch any of the episodes. I've done it already.
That good, huh?
I've already suffered.
Oh, I'm prepared to suffer.
Here, I'll let you in on a little secret. I've never seen Iron Fist season 2. I've never seen Luke Cage season 2, and I've never seen Punisher all the way through. So we're gonna be embarking on an adventure together.
Well, it really sounds like Iron Fist might Iron Fist me while watching that. So
yeah. Anyway, Jake, your homework for this week is to watch Baby Groot. We're going to talk about Baby Groot next week. So you guys are probably going to notice this season is just us tying up some loose ends, getting some defenders in here, and, getting whatever makes sense in this thing.
The Defenders.
Ugh, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a 5-star and a rating and a comment, and also don't forget to follow, share this with all your pals who love Marvel or want to get into Marvel, because we talk about every show. So if there's a show and movies, so if there's something they want to learn all about in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we'll probably talk about it, and if it was in Phase 1 and Phase 2, we've definitely already talked about it. So please, go ahead and subscribe, follow, whatever. And yeah, follow us on our Instagrams, AJ Slab, Juicy Snake, also our Twitter, same names. And we'll see you next week.
Don't beg. It's unbecoming.